You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. Prosecutors have released new details on a killing at East Quogue. Police say 43-year-old Jeremy Allen beat his friend Christopher Hahn with a baseball bat, then tied a plastic bag over his head before taking a seat and watching Hahn struggle for nearly 10 minutes. Allen then allegedly got a knife and stabbed Hahn. His body was eventually found by a handyman. Now, police say the attack was all caught on surveillance camera. Allen pleaded not guilty to murder charges today. He is due back in court in November. And Hurricane Milton has left more than 3 million Floridians without power. The Category 3 storm made landfall in Siesta Key late Wednesday. At least 5 people have died. There were tornadoes across the state and a storm surge of up to 10 feet in Sarasota County. Here's a look at the home of the Tampa Bay Rays in St. Petersburg. The roof has been blown off by the heavy wind. Now, theme parks like Universal and Disney are still shut down, but they say they will reopen their gates on Friday. MacArthur, JFK, and LaGuardia still have no flights to Orlando, but some flights are starting to be rescheduled for Friday. And a trial date has been set for Sean Diddy Combs. The hip-hop mogul is facing sex trafficking and racketeering charges. He has pleaded not guilty and has been held in a Brooklyn federal jail since his arrest last month. The trial is set for May 5th. And the CDC has released national data about transgender high school students for the first time. So about 3% of high schoolers nationwide identify as transgender, and 2% are questioning their gender identity. Newsday education reporter Don Zoe explains how Long Island schools are supporting these students.
For our schools, on Long Island, obviously transgender students there in our schools. I spoke to a few of them, and one of them actually told me that having data like this made him feel less, alone, that, there are other folks just like him around the country. And I actually spoke with one superintendent, and he told me that, in his district, they celebrate individuality and uniqueness, and they actually have a private meeting with the student once the student identifies as transgender or questioning, and they kind of work through with the student what to follow.
Now, to read more about this story, go to Newsday.com, click Get More, below the Newsday TV video box. And the average 30-year mortgage rate has gone up again. Freddie Mac says the rate rose to 6.32%, which is up from 6.12% a week ago. Now, rates have fallen steadily since July and were close to being lower than 6% just 2 weeks ago. And Amazon Fresh will be adding 2 new locations on Long Island. The supermarket chain will be opening stores in East Setauket and Plainview starting on October 24th. Now, both locations will be open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. A new wind farm is powering parts of Long Island, and there's more to come. Drew Scott took a tour on the South Fork.
You can see Long Island's electric future just beyond Block Island. It's called South Fork Wind, encompassing 12 giant wind turbines that eventually will produce enough power to supply Suffolk County's East End. Ørsted North America, a Danish company, has spent the last 11 years planning and building these giant windmills.
New York State hopes that the South Fork wind farm will power up to 70,000 homes with 130 megawatts. But so far, it's nowhere near that number.
So in general, wind farms produce the most energy during colder months, which aligns well with New York State's plan to shift toward a winter peaking grid as more buildings and transportation get electrified. So generally the colder months in the evenings is when offshore wind performs best.
Representatives of the governor's office, construction unions, and environmentalists joined in the tour of the new wind farm, including Adrian Esposito of the Citizens Campaign for the Environment.
This is critically important because this really is the first step on a long journey to transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy.
New York State has been asked to approve 4 more wind farms for Long Island. One would be about 24 miles from Fire Island, called Sunrise Power. Patty Diorio of Orsted is supervising that project. It's several times bigger than South Fork.
New York's largest offshore wind farm, our Sunrise Wind Farm, and we are doing onshore construction works right now, employing hundreds of union workers right at home in Long Island.
LIPA says Long Island's energy hunger is increasing by 2% a year, making these carbon-free projects more necessary in the coming 5 to 10 years. Aboard the Julia Lee off Block Island, Drew Scott, NewsdayTV.
Now, to read more about these wind farms, go to newsday.com, click Get More below the NewsdayTV video box. Our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month continues, and today we take a look at a local school that's connecting students to their roots through music. Virginia Huey has a story you'll see only in Newsday.
At Caroline G. Atkinson Intermediate School in Freeport, 5th and 6th graders put on white shirts and red bows and take out their string and brass instruments to fill the halls with traditional Mexican music. This is Mariachi Primero. The class has been part of the music curriculum since 2022.
It's a rarity here on Long Island. We are one of the only school districts on Long Island that has a mariachi program.
11-year-old Oliver Martinez jumped at the chance to take mariachi as an elective because the music connects him with his roots.
What I like about mariachi music is that it just feels like Hispanic heritage stuff, and I'm from El Salvador, so it feels like really joyful.
Whether they choose to play string or brass instruments, students learn the history of mariachi music while also learning how to speak and sing in Spanish.
We're learning how to play songs and like what year the songs were made, the composers.
The mariachi course has struck a chord with the students. Since 2022, enrollment in the class has tripled from 60 to 180 students.
It's really special to me that I'm in this group.
Before joining the ensemble last year, 11-year-old Amberlyn Hernandez didn't know how to play the violin. Now, every song she performs is a source of cultural and personal pride.
I like all the music notes about it and how the instruments play it. I really like when the guitars play sometimes. It gives me like a little bit tingles.
And if happiness has a sound, this is it. For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
You just love to see it. Now, to read more exclusive stories like this one, go to newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. All right, here's what's up on Long Island. Check out the Millneck Manor Apple Festival. It features a variety of apples, grilled bratwurst, cheeses, and more. It's Saturday and Sunday at Millneck Manor. Or take a behind-the-scenes tour of the Fire Island Lighthouse. Explore the historic lighthouse from top to bottom on Saturday. Or meet Tom Colicchio in Huntington. The restaurant owner and top chef judge takes his Why I Cook book tour to the Paramount on Saturday. For admission info and more events, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And now let's take a look at your very cool and fall-like Long Island weather. When you were outside today, it was chilly in the morning, but it warmed up a bit in the afternoon, and tonight it is getting cold again. You can see we're in the mid-40s. Tomorrow we do have some sun, barely scraping underneath 70. Sun pretty much all day tomorrow. And as for the 7-day forecast, well, we don't have much for rain except a little bit. Never, it looks like now. So it was on Sunday, but that has cleared out. We're just stuck with these mild temperatures, but it is getting cooler next week.
Long Island Weather is brought to you by PTRC. More than 70 suspicious deaths have gone unsolved on Long Island over the last 48 years. Newsday investigates how law enforcement is trying to bring closure to victims' families. The Forgotten, an exclusive Newsday investigation. Coming soon at Newsday.com.
You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us.